6 boundaries that make women respect you more. Old Stoic Wisdom. Respect is earned, not demanded. Unknown. There's a powerful truth that high-value men live by. Respect isn't something you beg for. It's something you become. Here's the hard reality. Women don't respect your words. They respect your boundaries. They respect your spine. They respect what you stand firm on, what you say no to, more than any yes you offer. The real reason relationships fade isn't when love dies. It's when respect disappears. Often, a man loses his woman, not because his feelings change, but because he begins to forfeit his power, piece by piece, in the subtle ways. This is where the shift happens. It's time to stop handing away your strength in small doses. I'm about to share the 6 most powerful boundaries you can set, not to control her, but to master yourself so completely that she'll have no choice but to see you as the man you truly are. Want to begin commanding that kind of respect? Comment below, I choose respect. Number 1, never reward disrespect. In the world of relationships, one undeniable truth remains: respect is earned, not given. Every man needs to understand that the moment you accept disrespect from a woman, no matter how long you've been together or what you've done for her, you lose your value in her eyes. The second you tolerate belittlement, condescension, or being ignored without standing up for yourself, she stops seeing you as a man to be admired. Instead, she views you as a tool for convenience, someone she can use at will. And here's the brutal reality. This isn't just about her feeling a certain way. It's about how you allow her to see you. If she can disrespect you without consequence, she stops feeling that underlying tension of having to earn your trust and loyalty. She no longer feels a desire to work for your love. She might stick around, but her admiration is gone. And without respect, desire fades into nothingness. Let that sink in. You must never reward disrespect. The moment you let disrespect slide, whether it's staying silent after being insulted, apologizing for something that's not your fault, or waiting around after she's left you hanging for hours, you signal one thing loud and clear: my self-worth depends on your attention. And that, my friend, is a death sentence to any attraction. Women don't test you because they're cruel. They're testing you to see if you're a man of strength or a man who bends to weakness. A man without boundaries is not a safe space. He's a soft, easily manipulated space. A woman needs strength, not a weak man she can walk all over. When you cave under pressure, she doesn't feel love. She feels unsafe. She needs to feel protected. And a man who allows his dignity to be trampled cannot protect anyone, let alone her. So, how do you shift this? How do you become that man who commands silent respect, who earns admiration with every action? You establish clear boundaries without becoming a raging storm. A man who never yells, never begs, and never explains, but also never tolerates disrespect. This is the man you must become. You must recognize disrespect in all its forms, not just the loud and obvious insults. Disrespect isn't only in the big arguments, it's in the subtle slights. When she interrupts you constantly, mocks your goals, brings up her ex to get under your skin, or texts other men and calls you insecure when you question it. It's in the silent treatment instead of honest communication. All of these are quiet blows to your spirit, and you must call them out. When you do it calmly. Make it clear that you won't accept this behavior. For example, don't speak to me that way again. If you do, I'm done. No need to repeat yourself. No need for arguments. Simply leave if it happens again. When you take a stand like this, 2 things happen. She either rises to the challenge or she walks away. And if she walks away, that's not failure, that's progress. Let her go. You've just cut the parasite from your life. 1 step closer to becoming the unshakable man you're destined to be. But this isn't just about women. It's about how you carry yourself through life. With your boss, your friends, and your family, how people treat you is a direct reflection of how you allow them to treat you. If you allow disrespect, you train people to see you as weak. If you set clear boundaries, you start to attract respect. You must start standing firm in your standards, not from ego, but from necessity. A man with no boundaries is doomed to exhaustion and resentment. He'll burn out and, eventually, explode. But a man who honors himself, who establishes those iron mind boundaries, becomes solid. His focus sharpens, his life aligns with who he truly is, and only those who respect him will be allowed to enter it. This is not arrogance. This is evolution. This is the path to unshakable respect. So, how do you do it in practical terms? Here's the blueprint. If she flakes on you, don't chase. If she mocks your values, don't explain. If she brings drama into your life, don't engage. You set the standard. You walk away from the table when disrespect is served. You leave. Not once, but every time. And if she wants to earn her way back into your life, it will not be through apologies. It will be through consistent, respectful behavior. The hard truth is this. If you're addicted to her attention, it means you've failed to build a life for yourself that's worthy of your own attention. Redirect that obsession. Focus on creating something that doesn't need approval. Build a business. Develop a skill that makes you valuable, not just to women, but to the world. Invest in your body and mind. Wake up earlier. Run when your body says stop. Lift weights until your arms go numb. That pain becomes strength, and that strength becomes discipline. Discipline sharpens your mind and brings clarity to every decision you make. You need to stop living for fleeting pleasures and start creating lasting value. Cut out anything that doesn't serve your growth, weak friends, draining places, and mindless distractions. Organize your life, study, clean your space, be brutal in your standards. Every time you tolerate disrespect, you rob yourself of the greatness you're meant to achieve. This is where the Old Stoic Wisdom comes in self-control and clarity of purpose, allow you to build a life of strength and integrity. When you stop tolerating disrespect, you stop tolerating mediocrity in yourself. You elevate, you transform. This is not about demanding respect from others. It's about becoming the kind of man who commands it. People will either fear you, admire you, or simply not dare to disrespect you. And the woman who once played games with you, she'll look at you one day, and she won't recognize the man she once knew. And that, my friend, will haunt her far more than anything you could ever say. You will become unshakable. You will rise, drawing a line in the sand and standing firm behind it, no matter the cost. Start now. Don't wait. Your greatness is on the other side of your boundaries. Number 2. Guard your peace. If there is one principle that will set the tone for the rest of your life, it is this: peace is not something that just happens by chance. It's something you must guard with unwavering determination, as if your very life depends on it, because, in many ways, it does. A man who lacks peace is a man perpetually on edge, constantly pulled in 1,000 directions, reacting to everything and everyone in survival mode. He is not truly living, he is simply performing for others, women, friends, family, colleagues, people who, quite frankly, wouldn't bat an eye if he crumbled tomorrow. Eventually, a man must wake up to the stark realization that his peace is his power. Not wealth, not status, not even women. Peace, because it's in this state of tranquility that your decisions cease to be reactions. They become choices, deliberate and intentional. Peace is the ultimate flex. It's invisible, yet its impact is profound. You walk into a room, and people feel it. You speak, and others listen, not because you shout, but because your silence carries weight. It's that calm confidence that doesn't need validation. It's a foundation so strong that no external force can shake it. This, my friend, is what the ancient Stoic principles are all about: maintaining control over your inner world, no matter what chaos erupts around you. But here's the problem. Most men fail to protect their peace. They leak it constantly. Every text they feel compelled to respond to instantly, every argument they engage in, every chaotic person they tolerate, every favor they say yes to out of guilt, it all drains them. Every moment spent explaining their worth to others is another crack in their peace. And before they know it, they're a hollow shell, wearing the mask of a man who once had dreams and drive. You cannot build an empire with a chaotic mind, and you certainly cannot lead a meaningful relationship with an anxious soul. Without peace, respect becomes elusive. Women sense it immediately. They can tell when your attention is scattered, when your time isn't sacred, when your space has no discipline. They can feel when you're constantly at their mercy. And here's the catch. That doesn't make them love you more. It makes them feel like they're steering the ship. No woman respects a man who is led by anyone or anything, especially not her. So, what does it mean to guard your peace first? It means becoming unavailable to chaos, not as an act of avoidance, but as a conscious decision to design your life with intent. Every input, every relationship, every habit must be examined. Does this protect or poison my peace? If it poisons it, it goes immediately. No second chances, no dramatic exits, just gone. You don't engage in arguments because arguments demand that you prove yourself. And a man at peace doesn't need to explain himself to chaos. You stop chasing attention and approval because chasing only pulls you out of the present moment. You stop scrolling endlessly on your phone because each scroll is a choice to numb your mind instead of building something meaningful. Guarding your peace also means a radical approach to your time and your environment. You wake up early, not because it's trendy, but because the hours before the world wakes up are your fortress. You read, not to impress others, but to remind yourself that your problems are small in the grand scheme of things. You walk alone, not because you're lonely, but because you've learned to be content in solitude. You train your body, not for external validation, but because physical discipline is spiritual war. You keep your space clean, not to impress a date, but because chaos cannot survive where order lives. Your peace is the foundation of everything you are and everything you do. And, as the Stoic rules go, it's in these quiet, small decisions that the man with the strong inner world rises above the noise of the world. The man who owns his mind owns his world. The man who cannot be lured into arguments, chaos, guilt, urgency, or distraction becomes untouchable. And this is what women, employers, friends, and even other men admire, though they may not be able to articulate it. When a woman creates emotional noise, it's not to destroy you. She's testing your edges. She's testing to see if your world bends when she leans too hard. If every poke sends you spiraling into reaction, she knows there is no core, just a man who bends to every whim. But if you sit back, hold the silence longer than her confusion, and respond only when you choose to, you're not just guarding your peace, you're declaring that it's non-negotiable. Eventually, she either adapts to your frequency or she exits your life. And that's a win, because the moment you give up your peace to keep someone around is the moment you lose yourself. And if you lose yourself, there's no point in being loved. The man she loves is the one who stands firm, unyielding, in his peace. And what's the point of love if it requires your soul as collateral now? Understand this, you are the architect of your life. Build a peace so strong it offends the chaotic. Build a peace that repels distractions and pulls the right people toward you. And here's the beauty. When you live with this kind of peace, everything you used to chase, validation, love, attention, respect, starts chasing you. You become that rare man who doesn't need the world to see him to feel whole. That peace will heal you. It will sharpen your decisions, reveal your true friends, teach you how to love without losing yourself, and build a foundation that no betrayal, no setback, no woman, and no loss can shake. Guard your peace like gold, because once you own it, you'll never trade it for chaos again. This is practical stoicism at its finest. The ability to control your inner world in a way that shapes your external world. You can't lead a peaceful life if your mind is in constant turmoil. Protect your peace and watch as the world aligns with you, not the other way around. If you find this valuable, comment below and share it with someone who could benefit. Don't forget to subscribe for more wisdom. Comment to remember, I protect my peace, and it strengthens my power. By guarding your peace, you create an untouchable foundation in your life. When you let go of chaos, drama, and distractions, you show the world and women that your mind is unshakable. This is the path to earning respect, not just from others, but from yourself. Share your commitment to peace by commenting on the affirmation above. Number 3, don't share too much. To earn the deep respect of women, you must become a man who embodies strength, resilience, and emotional mastery, qualities that have been revered throughout history, particularly in the ancient paths of wisdom laid down by philosophers like Epictetus. In today's world, it's easy to fall into the trap of oversharing, thinking that opening up emotionally will bring you closer to the woman you desire. But the reality is starkly different. A respected man doesn't share everything at once. He understands the power of boundaries, and how those boundaries, when properly respected, build intrigue and fascination. When you reveal too much of yourself too quickly, you risk overwhelming her and turning yourself into a project. The man who seeks validation by constantly talking about his struggles, fears, and doubts creates an emotional burden for his partner. Women are not drawn to men who need saving. They are attracted to men who can handle their emotions with composure and grace. Men who understand that true connection is built on mystery, strength, and intentional vulnerability. This principle is one of the cornerstones of Stoic philosophy, which has been practiced by great minds throughout history. Epictetus, one of the foremost Stoics, teaches us that it is not the events themselves that shape us, but how we respond to them. In modern terms, this means that your response to emotional challenges is more important than the challenges themselves. Women don't want to be emotionally responsible for you. They want to be with a man who stands firm in the face of adversity, who can manage his emotions with the calm of someone who has already mastered his inner world. The moment you start relying on her to manage your pain, to carry your emotional load, you lose respect in her eyes. You become someone she feels obligated to nurture, rather than the strong, steady partner she is drawn to. She wants to feel your depth, but she does not want to bear the weight of your wounds every day. Instead of constantly unloading your emotions onto her, let her see your strength in action. When you remain grounded, when you carry your burdens without expecting her to shoulder them, you will command her admiration. Think of the most respected men in your life, the ones who seem unshaken by the turmoil around them, the ones who carry themselves with a quiet, unwavering strength. Rarely do they talk about themselves. Rarely do they overshare their emotional struggles. Instead, they offer glimpses into their inner world. And when they do, it's on their terms, and only when the time is right. They are not afraid to be vulnerable, but their vulnerability is strategic. It is not a constant stream of emotion, but rather a deliberate reveal that adds depth to their character. This is how you should approach your emotional life. You must learn to control what you share and when you share it. When you overshare, you kill the mystery. You make yourself predictable, and predictability is the enemy of attraction. Women are drawn to men who have layers they have to uncover. When you give it all away up front, you strip away the excitement, the challenge, and ultimately, the desire. Women want to be with men they can't quite figure out, men who hold their ground, who are strong enough to remain silent when necessary and speak when it matters most. As Epictetus would say, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Similarly, emotional mastery doesn't lie in revealing everything about yourself, but in maintaining the ability to control what you express. When you're too open, you create emotional clutter. She doesn't know how to process it, and instead of feeling closer to you, she feels overwhelmed. Instead of respecting your openness, she begins to question your stability. And instead of leaning in to be closer to you, she might start to pull away. She may comfort you, but she no longer sees you as the protector. She starts to see you as her emotional equal. And while that may sound noble, it fundamentally shifts the dynamic between you. Respect is rooted in the tension between a man and a woman, the space between what she knows about you and what she has yet to discover. This is not about hiding yourself or being deceitful. It's about preserving that sacred distance, that sense of mystery that keeps her intrigued. When you share everything at once, you kill that tension. And when the tension dies, so does desire. This is why the most respected men don't constantly talk about themselves. They speak only when their words carry weight. They reveal enough to spark curiosity, but they never hand over the entire blueprint of their emotional lives. They remain magnetic because they understand that their value lies not in how much they share, but in what they choose to withhold. You've been conditioned to believe that vulnerability equals connection, that to be close to a woman, you must open up. But look at the men who truly command respect. They don't need to explain themselves constantly. They don't try to be relatable or constantly seek approval. Instead, they radiate strength, confidence, and emotional mastery. This is the true power of emotional vulnerability. Not to share everything, but to know when to hold back, when to stand firm, and when to reveal only what enhances the relationship. Your mission in life, your vision, your journey should never be up for debate. When you share it too freely, you risk diluting its power. When you let your insecurities bleed out in an attempt to be understood, you weaken your edge. It's important to practice the power of presence. Be present in the moment. Be emotionally aware, but not emotionally dependent. Don't speak every time you feel something. Instead, take action. Turn your confusion into clarity. Let your emotional world become a fortress that only those who earn it can enter. The key to building attraction, respect, and deep connection lies in how you reveal yourself. When she does earn access to your inner world, you don't drown her in emotions. You invite her to witness your resilience. You don't offload your burdens on her. You let her see your strength. You reveal yourself slowly, intentionally, like the sunrise, gradual, beautiful, and earned. This is how you become unforgettable. This is how you cultivate a deep, unshakable attraction. You're not simply a man with a story. You're a man with a center, with purpose, and with emotional mastery. This is how you maintain your edge. This is how you stay respected, not just in your relationships, but in every room you walk into. As you move forward in life, remember the path of wisdom that Stoicism provides. Master your emotions, control what you reveal, and remain mysterious. The most magnetic men in history have understood this truth. True strength doesn't need validation. It simply exists. And that's what makes you not just a man, but an unforgettable force. Number 4. No emotional reactivity. Don't be fooled by the world's obsession with quick reactions. Real power is not about being emotionally absent. It's about being emotionally sovereign. An iron mind isn't one that's indifferent. It's one that can choose its responses, no matter the storm. You must understand that true control comes not from suppressing your emotions, but from mastering them. A man who reacts impulsively to every emotional trigger is a man who is enslaved by his feelings. The world wants you to be reactive, and women, too, will test your ability to stay grounded. Weak men respond to every provocation. They fold under pressure. But the man who has an iron mind, who stays unmoved amidst chaos, exudes silent dominance. Imagine the scene she tests you. Maybe it's a sharp remark, a sudden shift in mood, or a withdrawal of affection. And for a moment, your stomach churns, your mind races, words stumble from your mouth in a frantic attempt to regain control. This is emotional reactivity at its worst. When your internal peace is hijacked by someone else's mood swings, the moment she sees she can move you like this, the dynamic begins to wither. But this isn't about being cold-hearted, it's about becoming unshakable. Emotional sovereignty means you can feel deeply, but you're not at the mercy of those feelings. This is where the Old Stoic Wisdom comes in. Control the inner world, and the outer world will bend to your strength. Think about it, the man who stands unflinching when tested by a woman's moods, by a disrespectful stranger, or by an unfair critique, is the man who commands genuine respect. He doesn't lash out. He doesn't need to explain himself. He simply remains rooted. His presence alone speaks volumes. Women aren't looking for a robot. They want a man who is deeply human, but still unmoved by the storms of life. She will test you, yes, but she will also observe how you handle the storm. The man who doesn't flinch when chaos rains down is a revelation in a world full of men who crumble. But you can't fake this. You can't pretend to be calm if you're boiling inside. It's not enough to put on a facade. It requires inner work. This is where true strength lies. Start with the uncomfortable parts of yourself, the parts that panic when someone disagrees with you, when someone pulls away, or when your pride is wounded. You must face these fears head on. Look them in the eye and say, "You do not lead me anymore." This is where emotional sovereignty begins. You start observing your reactions, not obeying them. You gain the space between stimulus and response, and in that space, you will find your power. It's in that moment of stillness where kings are made. And once you gain control of your emotional responses, everything changes. You start to see things others miss. You hear the hidden meanings in her words, instead of just reacting to them. You no longer need the last word. You stop defending your character to people who aren't even qualified to judge it. Your attention becomes your most precious asset, and those who wish to access it must come correct. This calmness draws respect from others. Those who used to provoke you will find themselves frustrated, as they can no longer move you. But the ones who respect strength, true, silent strength, will be drawn to you like bees to honey. The impact is profound. You'll notice that you talk less, but when you speak, your words carry weight. You move slower, more deliberately. You observe more, study more, and act less impulsively. You stop reacting to her mood swings or her silence. You understand that her emotions are hers to handle, not yours to fix. When you can stand as a steady container for her emotional waves without drowning in them, she will trust you more than any other man. Not because you saved her, but because you remained intact while she tested you. And this emotional discipline is not just a relationship asset, it's a life-changing superpower. Most men are slaves to their emotions, hiding behind false passion. They fight pointless battles, burning bridges because their egos were bruised. They defend fragile pride and chase arguments that don't matter. But you walk through life with an iron mind, bypassing chaos as if it were beneath you. Someone challenges your ideas in a meeting. You smile. A friend betrays you. You don't retaliate. You fade away like smoke from a fire. People gossip about you. You say nothing, because truth has no need to panic. In the face of rejection, oversight, or failure, you don't crumble. Instead, you rise with purpose and clarity. Your life's direction is chosen with discipline, and every boundary you set strengthens your empire. This emotional discipline is what separates you from the crowd. This is the mark of a man who commands respect without saying a word. This is the true power of an iron mind, rooted in the old Stoic wisdom to remain steady, to choose your response, and to never lose yourself in the chaos. That's how you earn the respect of women and everyone else, who will stand in awe of the calm you carry within. If this resonated with you, don't forget to like, comment, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe for more wisdom on mastering emotional sovereignty and building true strength, to show you're ready to lead your life with discipline and emotional mastery. Comment below, "I am emotionally sovereign." Let's connect and grow together. Number 5, always be willing to walk away. Too many men live in fear. They stay in jobs that drain their energy, in relationships that deplete their strength, in friendships that chip away at their respect. Why? Because they're afraid. Afraid of the unknown, afraid of starting over, afraid of what people might think. They shrink, they smile, and they convince themselves it's not that bad. And slowly, they become invisible, not just to others, but to themselves. But the man who is willing to walk away from anything that insults his soul, that man is terrifying. That man exudes a quiet magnetism that commands respect. He doesn't stay for comfort. He stays because whatever he's involved in aligns with his standard, his values, his higher purpose. The moment that alignment is broken, he walks. Simple as that. This is one of the core lessons of Stoic principles, the ability to detach from what doesn't serve your growth. It applies in every area of life, but especially in relationships. Women sense it. They know when you're sticking around because you're addicted to their presence versus when you stay because their presence brings peace, growth, and purpose into your life. The first type of man he's tested, relentlessly. The second kind, she knows her place. She knows if she disrespects him, he's gone. And make no mistake, walking away doesn't mean you're heartless. It means you're loyal to yourself. First and foremost, it means you're saying, I love you, but I love my values more. I love my peace more. I love the man I am becoming more. That kind of detachment isn't cold, it's divine. It frees you from the trap of begging for crumbs, and it elevates your circle. You set the Stoic rules of engagement for your life. It purifies your space and reminds you that nothing, no relationship, no job, no situation, is worth keeping if it costs you your identity. This is the beauty of practical Stoicism. When you live with a detached, rock-solid self-respect, people will either rise to meet you or they will exit your life. There's no in-between. The moment you stop tolerating mediocrity, everything shifts. Your standard becomes your filter. The people, situations, and even your own mind are forced to align with your highest self. You must become so secure in your own worth that you are willing to walk away from pleasure, comfort, attention, validation, and even love if it means protecting your mission, your purpose, and your peace. That's when you become truly dangerous, not to others, but to anything that tries to cage you, to pull you into a mediocre existence. Here's the truth that most people won't tell you: real growth comes after you walk. The clarity, the expansion, the strength. It doesn't come when you're clinging to something that doesn't serve you. It comes in the silence that follows your final step away. In that silence, you meet the next version of yourself, the one who no longer tolerates chaos for company, the man who doesn't beg for approval, the one who doesn't stay in relationships, jobs, or situations just to feel needed. Stoic principles teach us that emotional attachment can lead to suffering. The more you cling to something that drains you, the less power you have. Walk away from anything that makes you forget who you truly are. And once you've mastered this art, you'll never beg, chase, or tolerate disrespect again. The moment you choose self-respect over comfort is the moment your life truly begins. Not just your relationships, not just your confidence, but your entire life. The old version of you, the one who cowered to insecurity, vanishes. The man you are becoming doesn't seek approval. He builds standards. He doesn't fold under pressure. He sharpens in silence. He doesn't need to be understood. He needs to be undeniable. You were never meant to live on your knees for love, attention, or acceptance. You were meant to walk in power, quietly, calmly, and with the unshakable knowledge that respect is not something you demand, it's something you design. If this shift resonated with you, don't let it fade. Lock it in. This isn't the end, it's the start of a new era, a version of you that no longer tolerates being anything less than the man you were born to be. And if this message spoke to you, if it reminded you of the power you already possess, subscribe to the channel. This journey of mastering yourself, of living according to your highest standards, is just beginning. Number 6. Cultivate emotional independence. Let me tell you this straight. If you are the kind of man who seeks approval from others to feel good about yourself, you're already walking a dangerous path. A man who lacks emotional independence is a man who is vulnerable. Women respect a man who is unwavering in his emotions, someone who cannot be swayed by every mood, every shift in circumstance. This isn't just a trait, it's a standard, and it's rooted in the ancient wisdom of the Stoics, the paths of wisdom that tell us that true strength comes from within. As Epictetus once said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This is the cornerstone of emotional independence. You don't need anyone's approval to feel worthy. Your sense of value is not tied to how others treat you. When you stand firm in your own emotional state, you radiate confidence and stability, and that alone commands respect. You must understand this deeply. Emotional independence means that you are not a slave to the whims of others. When you let your mood depend on how people behave, you allow yourself to be controlled. Do not allow yourself to be tossed about by the winds of external circumstances. Take control of your emotions. Take control of your life. You are not afraid to stand alone, because you know that your happiness does not depend on anyone else. Women, and the world in general. Respect a man who is emotionally self-sufficient, a man who stands steady in the storm. When a man can support others, particularly a woman, without losing himself in the process, he becomes a force to be reckoned with. The power of emotional independence is magnetic. You can feel it. Others can feel it. It's that unshakable strength of character that women, especially, find irresistible. Here's what this means in practice. You do not need to dump your emotions on everyone around you. You don't have to share every feeling, every doubt, or every whim that crosses your mind. A man who is emotionally independent doesn't let every little shift in his mood control his actions. You think first, you act second. Your emotional state doesn't dictate your behavior. You stay composed, even when faced with pressure, drama, or chaos. And in this stillness, this silence, lies your power. The most powerful men you know, the ones others respect, are not the ones who overshare. They don't need to explain their every thought, their every feeling. Instead, they reserve their words, they preserve their energy, and they let their actions speak for them. You've seen this before. The men who hold their ground, who remain calm, who make decisions without flinching, they are the ones people are drawn to. This kind of emotional mastery isn't easy, but it's essential. It requires discipline. It requires you to take full ownership of your emotional world. And in this ownership, you create space. You create space to grow. You create space to build. You become untouchable by the noise of others' emotions, their drama, and their insecurities. When you lead with this kind of inner peace, with purpose and clarity, you elevate yourself above the noise of everyday life. And women, they will respect you because of it. They will trust you because you have proven that you are a man who can handle his own emotions, and hers too, without losing your center. In the paths of wisdom and stoicism, win. Men like this command of respect, not because they ask for it, but because they embody it. This is about mastery. Mastery of yourself. Mastery of your emotions. Mastery of your life. You don't let anyone dictate your emotional state. You stand firm in your own principles. You are a man who has a mission, a purpose, and he will not be derailed by fleeting emotions or external circumstances. You guard your peace because that peace is what fuels your greatness. And once you've cultivated emotional independence, you will rise above the chaos of modern life. You will stop reacting to drama, and you will start moving with purpose and direction. This is not about being cold. It's about being resolute. It's about being unshakable. And the result, you don't just earn respect, you command it. Do not let the storm outside disrupt your peace within. Master your emotions, build your inner strength, and you will see the world and the people around you begin to align with your power. You will stop being swayed by outside influences. You will stop needing validation. And that, my friend, is how you become a man who can't be ignored. That's how you walk the paths of wisdom laid out by Stoics like Epictetus. And that's how you win in life. Thanks so much for tuning in, my friends. I hope this video helped you take away some practical insights on how setting boundaries can not only help you gain respect, but transform the way people see you. Remember, respect is earned, and it starts with you, your confidence, your consistency, and your choices. Here's my sincere advice: don't ever sacrifice your boundaries just to please others. True respect comes from the strength of maintaining them. Be unapologetic about it, and watch the shift in how you're treated. Now, share this video with a friend, and drop a comment below with the phrase, "I choose respect over validation." When you support this movement, you're not just helping this channel grow, you're helping another man hear what he might not have been told before. I appreciate you all. Stay strong and keep building respect, not just validation. See you in the next video.